Okay, so welcome to my summer 2022 online courses. I'm actually doing 3 courses this semester, doing EE 1020, ENGR 1030, ENGR 1040. Also have SolidWorks Lab, but I'm going to meet with them later during the week so that they don't interrupt our lecture. I was answering a question earlier before recording. I made a statement in one of my emails that this was my first time teaching EE 1020. I have been associated with EE 1020 in the past as a teacher's assistant. I have no life, and I don't sleep. I'm lucky if I get 5, maybe 6 hours sleep a night. I mean, last night I think I got 4. So I'm up till midnight. So a lot of the teachers who teach in person don't like staying up late, and so if I go in and I help their students who are working late, wanting, mostly it's the 20 minutes before the assignment's due, hey, I need help with this problems type stuff. But this semester the EE 1020 class is identical to the first two-thirds of the 1030 and 1040. Oh, that's going to be annoying. I'm going to have to get rid of that, sorry. Up until the second exam, the classes are identical for all 3 courses. After the second exam, EE 1020 will drop out. You're done, finished, no more. The 1030 students will continue on with more advanced features in not SolidWorks, MATLAB. Some advanced plotting and some calculus and some other stuff in there. The 1040 students, if I have any left, will be going into Excel, learning some neat and fun stuff in Excel. We updated our textbook here a couple 3-4 semesters ago. First semester, first one, it was real basics in Excel, and this textbook we're using now will get you into some VBA programming and pivot tables and macros, really cool stuff. Because we are using the 6th edition of the Holly Moore's textbook, there are in Holly's fairness, she did tell me a couple of weeks ago that we were going to start using the 6th edition, and told me there was a book over in the office for me to pick up, and I just kept putting it off until last Tuesday. She sends me an email saying, oh, by the way, you are ready to teach the summer semester with the 6th edition without videos and PowerPoints, and no, but I guess I'll get ready. So you can work ahead of me in my lectures if you want. Just be aware that I haven't gone through all of the homework assignments yet to change over from the 5th edition to the 6th edition. I'm also going to be getting, when we get into them, data files. We'll update all the data files that you're importing so that they match the textbook. Holly says that some of those have changed. I just finished the 3rd chapter, starting on to the 4th chapter, so I will try to keep up and ahead. I will do these lectures every Tuesday night, unless it becomes that you guys would rather do a Friday afternoon. Just let me know which is better for you guys. Either or is good for me. I get off work at 11 o'clock on Fridays, so I could set something up at like noon or 1 o'clock. Whatever works best for everybody else. Okay, so now a little bit about my class. Like I say, I am here. I am probably your greatest asset for this course, especially this summer with no videos. If you have questions during the week doing homework, by all means, come into the inbox here in Canvas and shoot me a message. I try to monitor that quite frequently. I check it at my office. I try to pride myself in responding within an hour of receiving these things, because I know you guys are busy and you don't want to wait for hours upon hours or even days to get a reply from me. So I will help. I have access to Canvas on my iPad, so it's by me if I'm not at a computer. So just remember, I'm here for you. This is what I get paid to do, is to help you get through this class. A little bit about our Canvas website. I have it set up for it will show the last 3 announcements that have been posted. Here's one on the lecture. Here's okay. So when I was setting up the website, I guess I missed a couple of dates on some pre-scheduled announcements. So these came out a little early, but come back and review them later. A lot of this stuff used to be really useful. Resources for this course had the first 3 chapters of the textbook in case you were unable to get it. They're no longer available, and it also listed the homework for the 5th edition in case you had an earlier edition textbook. But there are just so many changes that Holly told me to remove that. I did leave the streaming videos active so that you can come in here and look at the videos. Just keep in mind that these videos were created probably for the 4th edition of the textbook, maybe even the 3rd. I don't think it was the 3rd, but definitely the 4th, if not. But these should cover a lot of the material that's in the book, but not all of it. There are some specific areas where there are some significant changes, like in chapter 5, plotting. There is, I think it was subplots is no longer a valid command. It's something else. Chapter user-defined functions, chapter 6. These videos tell you to save each function as a separate individual M file. But in I think it was 2021 early version, maybe 2020, MATLAB finally came up to where you can put all of your video or your functions at the bottom of the M file, which makes it so much easier for the grader not having to download 15 to 20 different files to do the grading. But these are here for reference if you want to look at them. Also on the resources for this course, there's shows you how to get remote access. I don't know that we really need that anymore. You do have, and here would be the 5th edition PowerPoint presentations too. Back in the olden days, we used to have to remote into the lab at the community college to get access to to MATLAB. But now you can, I think in one of the announcements here, get a copy of MATLAB we'll cover that too. You can get a copy of MATLAB to put on your computer at home, or there is also online MATLAB. And we'll cover that in just a bit.
Quick question, Professor.
No. My name is Art. Don't call me Professor, please.
No worries. Sorry, Art.
Thank you.
So these lectures will be replacing the videos that are on.
Correct. Holly is working this summer to get videos out and ready for the fall semester. But yeah, there are no videos on the 6th edition. So these lectures that I'm doing will take place of the videos.
Okay, so anywhere where it says to watch the Chapter 1 lecture, the Chapter 2 lecture, this is in replacement of that, and we don't have to worry about watching the video, we can just do this instead?
Correct, yeah. I tried to get everything updated on this and obviously I missed those. So yeah, if it tells you to watch something, I will post all these here, and down here, videos from online sessions. This is on the home page. Scroll down to the bottom. I will list a link right here for each and every video that I record on these lectures. And then there's also some videos that are this is basically will cover everything that I'm going to be covering tonight. Plus I'll be doing more than that. This one here, when we get into loading data files, this is my top number one video for views. It's been viewed by over, I think it's close to 1,800 times now, and I don't have I've never had 1,800 students, so other people are watching that video besides me. Anyway, all your homeworks, well, let's see, if you go into the chapter modules, if you want to work through modules, it'll start you right here, and you can just go through the whole thing. Now, it is set up separately so that the 1020, the EE 1020 students will only see the stuff that they have to do. The 1030 will only see their stuff, and 1040 will only see their stuff. If you get into where you, after the SIC exam, you see something that you don't think you're supposed to be doing, let me know, and I'll go in and fix it. Because this was put together rather quickly. Back in the olden days, too, there was solutions to the practice exercises. I've removed that because they're, the first couple chapters will be the same, but after that they vary. But I am working the practice exercises too, and I will post my solutions to those as well. Okay.
Really quick, you mentioned that after the second exam, 1020 is over. Do you know when that second exam is scheduled for?
I certainly do. It is scheduled for after the first exam and before the final. Oh, that was very useful, you idiot. Oh, thanks. Hang on a second. I think it's in July. I think it's no, it's the last. It'll be available on the last 2 days in June. So it will be in the testing center on. Is that? No, that's SolidWorks. Sorry, I lied. Right there, MATLAB is the 13th and 14th of July.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll be in the testing center for both of those days. You only need to pick one, unless you really want to take it twice. But I don't know. They may not let you go in twice. Okay. Any other question? I mean, yeah. If you got questions, by all means, speak up. I like questions. If I don't know the answer, I'll make one up. Okay, so. Yeah, when you do your assignments, I do, so I'm going to offer an option here, and I'll go with the majority, or I may just make it somewhat, well, anyway, I just got too many thoughts going through my brain. If I am grading your homework, I will put comments in your code and upload it back to you so that you can get a vision of what you've been doing and what I see was wrong. I've been working, well, up through the 5th edition. I've done those problems so many times. I know what to look for when I'm grading, so I can go, and I know where most students struggle. So, okay. So now let's get on to the fun stuff. MATLAB. Where's my notes? Here we go. So, any questions before I start the boring, the show you how much I think I know about MATLAB? Okay.
I will ask a quick question.
Okay.
How long are these weekly lectures going to be? Should we plan on an hour, 2 hours?
Not 2 hours. I'm hoping to finish them in an hour. We got 2 chapters to cover here, chapter 1 and chapter 2. It seems like a lot, but it'll go really quick. I mean, if we spend more than 5 minutes on chapter 1, I'm bragging. Chapter 2, there's a little bit to cover in chapter 2, but it'll all flow fairly well. Oh, cool. I was taking a class online to learn how to program in MATLAB from MathWorks, and this was the homework we were doing in that. Isn't that cool? So yeah, that's cool.
Other quick question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Just curious, is most of the class here? Are we going to be doing this time every week? You think versus Fridays?
I'll put out an announcement after I get done here to get everybody's input. Because, like I say, I want to do whatever's best for everybody, or at least the majority of them.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. In this class, I'm not supposed to say I teach you how to program in MATLAB. What I am doing is I am teaching you how to solve engineering problems using such tools as MATLAB and Excel. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. For everybody but the 1040 students, you'll only see MATLAB. And if I have any 1040 students left, you'll get into Excel after the second exam. So what is MATLAB? MATLAB is basically an abbreviation for Matrix Laboratories. That's where MATLAB comes from. It's basically a mathematical software that works off of arrays and matrices. It's a really powerful tool. I hate to say it's easy to learn. It was easy, but I guess at the beginning it wasn't all that easy for me. It's just when you sit here and do the same thing over and over for 100 years, it becomes easy. But it's programmed in C or C++. It does have the C language in it, and it follows a lot of the same syntax as C. It varies a little bit here and there. But if you're familiar with any kind of programming, either your Fortran, your Pascal, that was the first programming class I took. Do they even teach Pascal anymore? I don't know. But it follows along a lot with the same of that. It has built-in functions. It has plotting capabilities. But it is a very powerful tool. We use it in my industry. In my daytime job, I am a mechanical engineer designing pipeline inspection tools based off of magnetic flux leakage, and we collect 1,406 samples a second. And on our I guess a standard tool, we would have anywhere from 280 to 1,400 sensors being sampled 1,406 times every second. So we have large data sets, and we use MATLAB. We'll go in and we'll find a spot that looks like it has corrosion, and we'll put a box around it, and in MATLAB we can do a 3D plot to get a better view and to identify that it is a corrosion, and then based off that plot we can size it for length, width, and depth. So MATLAB is a very powerful tool. I use it in a lot of research that I've been doing to do my job there. One thing that so I've read the first 3 chapters in this new textbook. Oh, don't forget to read the, wait a minute, to read what? Hang on. On page XVII, the dedication acknowledgments. Make sure you read that page, okay? So anyway, there are a lot, Holly uses a lot of examples through the chapters to show the programming and, kind of explain how to do these. And she has a set method for which she does this, and it is presented to you starting on page 5. Basically, she states the problem so you get an understanding of what you're trying to do. Then you describe the inputs and the outputs. You know what you're putting into the equations, what you expect to get out of it, and then you develop an algorithm, some way to identify the equations you're going to be used with, and then even work through a simplified version of everything so that you have an idea what to do it by hand, either through rough calculations or a calculator, so you have something to compare when you're done. And then you'll solve the problem in MATLAB and then check your results. Does the answers look right? I mean, if you're trying to find the velocity of a rocket and it's coming out at 14 million meters per second, there's a problem. But she's big on that, and so far she's used it on every example that she's shown. I don't know, maybe I should put a place on Canvas too, as I'm going through here, Obviously, this hasn't been released to the greater public yet, but there are some typos, and I've been finding them and reporting them to Holly. A couple of them could be quite confusing because it's in the MATLAB code. And she says, okay, well, I do this and this is results. And I'm like, okay, but you didn't do that. Or no, those results aren't what you're going to get. So maybe I'll put a page in Canvas with the typos in it, so that if you see something, you can go look on there and see if it was a typo. And if you find any that I missed, by all means, shout out to me, let me know so I can get them onto Holly, so that her goal was to try and get as many of these corrected before she releases the electronic version for the fall semester. Software, there is a method to get a copy of a student version of MATLAB on your computer through MathWorks. If it's not in the Canvas site somewhere, I'll check it out after we get done. If it's not there, I'll make sure and get it put in there so that you can access and download it. But there's also an option to use MATLAB on the cloud. If you go to MathWorks, this one, right here. If you go to mathworks.com, you can get an online version of MATLAB, which is nearly identical to what you'll be working with on a home version. And there is also, I think it was called MATLAB Drive, where if you save stuff on the website version, you can link it to your MATLAB on your personal desktop, so that changes you make online will be reflected on your computer at home, which is good for if you're out somewhere. Yeah, I know it's hard to believe, but I've had students go on vacation during finals week, but you can be doing work away from home and it'll be reflected on your computer. So this is an option. Downloading is an option. Yeah. So, any questions about MATLAB in general? Now we'll get into the programming portion of it. So this is MATLAB. This is not how you would see it when you start yours up, and I apologize that after so many years of using MATLAB, I've set it up the way that works best for me. The command window will be down here when you open yours up, and I really don't like it down here because I'm limited to how much space I can see here, and up here it's kind of annoying. But you notice how easy that was to move. I just grabbed it, moved it, and you can move these windows around to wherever is best for you. And this is what I like, because this, like I say, this gives me your guys' file in here, and I even have mine at the office set up like this too, because I like to see a lot of my output and all of my my program. So in MATLAB there are several different windows in here. Obviously up here you have your dang toolbars. Sorry, I only got 2 functioning brain cells and I tend to forget a lot. So you got your home toolbar plots when you get into doing some plots. Ones you'll be using most will be Live Editor, which this is a live editor. We'll get into that in just a bit. And that one's a live editor too, and that one's a live editor too. Let's do a new script file. This is an M file, so this one will come in as just an editor. What's the difference between the two? I'll get to that in just a minute. So this is the editor window. This is where, when you're writing a program, you'll write all your code in here, or equals 4, and area equals r raised to the twice times pi. And then when you run it, you'll see over here that it gives you your answer. And I'll get into this a little bit more too. Right now I just want to go over the windows in MATLAB. So this is your editor where you can edit programs. This is the command window. The command window is where, if you're using an M file, which the script is also known as an M file, because if you look at the name over here, it has a .m extension. But the command window, you can input code in here and hit enter, and it automatically executes. Equals p dot 2 times pi. But if you want to edit this, you can't edit it here. There is a way you can edit it. You can hit arrow. This brings up your history. So let's say you want this code here, you can drag and drop it over here. Oops. Or you can go back and click on one and it'll bring it down into the command window. Let's say that I didn't want, that wasn't supposed to be P, that was supposed to be R. Because R was already defined over here, it worked. So let's go over here to the workspace. This workspace will show you all of the variables that you have defined currently. So I have an A, must have came off of one of these other, say here's my practice exercises that I did for chapter 3. Yay! So we have A, we have ands. If you don't have, see up here I have sort, I just pulled up the function, but I didn't assign it to anything, so it defaults to ands, which is just short for the answer. So you'll have ands a lot. Then I got my two areas, my P and my R. Okay, so now if you ever want to clear these, you type in clear, and you'll notice they all went bye-bye. And if you don't like this mess over here, you can clear that with a CLC, which is clear the command window. And now that's all gone. Okay, so here's a workspace which lists your variables. Let's create a vector. Let's be typing in here to create a vector. We'll say P is equal to 1, 2, and 3. So here we have P, and it shows the value of it. Okay, any questions so far? Am I going too fast? I just don't want to keep you here all night is all. No questions? Okay, so this one here, this one is probably the most important outside of the where you're doing your work, is the current folder.
Just want to say speed is fine, at least here.
Okay,
So,
okay,
thank you.
Cool. Because you know, and if I tend to go off on tangents a lot, and if I get too far off, just pipe in and say, hey, stupid, get back on topic. You can't hurt my feelings. I have none. I'm married with children. Okay, so the current folder is really, 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 really important, especially, okay, it used to be really, 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 really important when we were doing user-defined functions, because each function needed to be within the current folder in order for MATLAB to find it to execute it. But when we get to that chapter, I'm not gonna lecture that. I don't want to do that no more. Let's see. Yeah, see down here, functions need to be now at the bottom of your M file, which makes it so much nicer. I mean, we could have as many functions as we want down at the bottom of this file, and still only have one file to manage. It's really cool. But it's still, when we're uploading data files into MATLAB, you need to have them in your current directory or current folder. And you can set your current folder. I wish I could make this bigger, but I can't. But if you can see this button right here, this is just your basic Windows browse to a folder button. And it'll open this up, and then you can just browse to wherever you want to be your new folder, current folder. Okay, I just bought a new laptop, so I haven't transported everything over from the old one yet. This folder on my other computer, I mean, there's hundreds of files in there, because just everything goes in there. But Yeah, so when we get into doing, I think it's chapter 3 is when we start learning how to import data. Yeah, and she could. Okay, I'm not going to criticize Holly. Holly and I have been working together since 1998, so we got a long history together. But I would think it'd be okay. I'm not going to go there. So data files need to be in here, and I'm going to put together a folder that will have all of the updated data files in it that you can just copy to your personal drives. It's something I'm going to be working on, and we'll get to that here at the end of my list of things to cover here. So let's see. So a graphics window, if you do a plot, it'll open up in a let's do save as. This is a live editor file, but I want it to be a MATLAB file, an M file. So this is an M file. So now if I execute this is going to, yeah, there is a plot. Where's my plot? I said to execute it. Oh, there it comes. So this is a graphics window. This will pop up if you're using an M file, and you can do a lot of fun things with this. You'll get into that later in chapter 4, I think it is, or maybe it's chapter 5, assignment 4. 3D plots are really cool. You can rotate them around, zoom in and out. Ooh, you can even zoom in and out on this one here too. But anyway, this is a graphics window. You'll get more detail on that when we get into plots. What else did I do? We do a workspace, current folder, document, graphics, edit window. Okay, so I've covered all the windows that are in the textbook. Again, you got your toolbars up here. You can change a lot of things. Publish, we don't publish anything in here. But I will, I'm going to save at least 10 minutes to cover working in a live editor. I would really like if you take this option to work in a live editor. It is so much, I've learned so much by taking that one class on how much better this is, or if I was to use proper English, how much more gooder a live editor is over an M file. It's so much easier. Instead of your outputs coming over here in the command window, they show up down here in the inside of the command. Oh, these are all suppressed. It's not going to show anything. Oh well, it will here in a second. Let's see. The plot come into here, and you can kick this out into that window too. So cool. Okay, so variables. Let's move on to the next topic here. Variables. You notice here that I created a variable called p. Okay, p does not equal 1, 2, 3, 4. P has been assigned the values of 1, 2, and 3. Okay, there is a difference because you just got to remember that you are assigning values or text to a variable, and it is being stored within MATLAB's memory. Okay, it is not equal to it because if you're trying to compare a variable to a number, you'll have two equal signs that says, is this equal to that variable or not? Is it that big of a deal if you say it equals 2? No, I'm not going to fail you if you say, well, p equals 3. No, p is assigned 3. So anyway, okay, quit going off tangent. I'm sorry, but that's what I do. That's who I am. Leave me alone. Okay. So variables are and your file names all follow the same criteria. Okay, it must start with a letter, any letter, it doesn't matter, but it must be a letter. After that, you can use numbers and underscore, and that's it. I mean, you can use any number of them you want, but you're allowed numbers, letters, and underscore, but it must start with a letter. Okay, and the reason that your file names have to be, I don't remember where that was. Because follow the same thing, because if you okay, let's see here. Let's get rid of this, and we'll save this as MATLAB Online. We'll call it today. Now you can come in here and type. Let's. Whoa! Good grief! Don't do that. That scared the bejeemies out of me. So now, if we type in that the name of that file we just created, it opened it up, it ran it, and gave us a solution out of it. Okay. If it's not a valid file name. Okay, if we put a 3 there, look at that, it's going to pop up when we say it must start with an alphanumeric or an alphabetic character. It can contain up to 63 characters or underscores. So you can override that. It'll still let you do it. But then if you try to come in here and type it in, it's going to say it's not good, it's invalid. Okay, so make sure that your file, I know a lot of students like to, in the past have, tried to save there as chapter space 1 space dot yada 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 yada, and it won't run. I think the number one thing you need to do is make sure you keep the grader happy. Happy grader gives more points than a sour grader. But anyway, so I digress. Anyway, so variables. Naming. Okay, so there are 3 types of variables. There's a scalar. A scalar means that it has a simple single value, like our R up here. That is a scalar value. Let's go to workspace. It's just 1. Area is just 1. Vector or array. It can be either a row vector or a column vector. You can create those by several ways. Square bracket, and you can either do space or comma. Either one works. So that would be a row vector. A column vector would be with a semicolon. Or if you want on a column vector, you could put each value on a new line. Oops, get back there. Okay, so these will both be column, and this will be a row. Okay, you can create a vector by a colon betwixt it. What that's going to do is it's going to equally space the variables values from 1 to 6 in an increment of 1. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, let's say we want to increment by 2. So we put a 2 between colons. So the first value is your starting number, second one is your finish number, and the value in between is the increment. So, and okay, so it gave us 1, 3, 5, but what didn't go all the way to 6 because there's no, you can't get 2 between 5 and 6, so it just truncated the rest of it. If you know how many values you want, you can use a line space, which is linear spaced. This one is inside of parentheses. You give your starting value, your ending value. Let's go to 2. No, let's go to 10 pi. And how many values you want. Let's do 6. Okay, so this will give us 6 equally spaced values between 3 and 10 pi. And if you're ever curious, that's what they are. Yeah, see there's 6 of them. Okay. And another special one that you're going to encounter in your homework that a lot of students struggle with for some reason is logarithmically spaced. So that's going to be a log space. And this one, let's say we want to find the values between 10 and 1,000. And we want 5 of them. Okay. but you need to put the log value in here. So 10 raised to the 1 is 10, and 10 raised to the 3 is 1,000, and we want 5 of them. And so this is a multiplier. You multiply that by through all these down here, and you'll see that here, if we move 3, 1, 2, 3 gives us 10, and 1, 2, 3 gives us 1,000. Okay, so and that's, you know, and it works also the other way. If you want to go smaller, put a -1. Now it's going to start at 0.01. Or I guess at 0.1. Okay. Everybody okay? Anybody fall asleep yet? Yeah, wake me up when it's over. This is boring. Next we have calculations. You can take a variable and a vector, and oops, if you have an equal, no, we should be able to do that. Y plus 3. So now y is 135. So now we have 468. Let's see, t and y are the same size. If we try to multiply them together, it's not going to work because these are vectors. And if you do a multiplication, just a simple basic multiplication like that, it needs to match the matrix algebra to do multiplication, and it's going to scream at you and say, hey, I can't do that. So, but if you were looking to get the element to element multiplication, you put a dot, a period between before your mathematical operator. So now this will go through, and it multiplied. We had 135, so 1 times 3, 3 times 2, and 3 times 5. So, and this one is very important. You'll use this one quite a bit. It works with multiplication, exponentials. Anytime you're trying to do a mathematical operator on vectors or matrices, and they have to be the same size. And another important one that's hard for students to understand is division. Okay, you cannot divide by a matrix or vector. It's like dividing by 0. It's not impossible. But if we want to do element by element, we can do a dot divide. Okay, this is in the textbook. If you have questions, by all means, let me know, and I will assist. And MATLAB follows, just like every other programming software, the hierarchy of mathematics. So if we have 7 times 3 plus 8 raised to the 2. Oh, too many. So it's going to go inside of the parentheses first, and then it'll do the exponential, and then it'll add, then it'll multiply by 7. And it'll always start from the left and work its way right. If we added a divide by 3 over here. So it would come in here, it would do the exponential, it would add by 3, then it'll come over here 7 times that result, and then divide it all by 3. There is some practice exercises in the textbook that'll help you understand that if I just confuse the bejeebies out of you.
Good question. Do you mind going back over the 3 types of variables? I know it was scalars, and then what were the other 2?
Scalar is a vector. Okay, you got scalar, you got vector or array, which is a single either row or column. And then the third one would be a matrix, which I didn't create a matrix. So a matrix would be, let's say, it'd be like, if you're doing definition like this, then you have to use the square brackets. And you'll notice here that I didn't put a semicolon on the end of that one, but I did that one. You can do either or. I'm not sure which one, so let's now these buttons up here you don't have, so don't look for them. They're just something I put in to help me with grading. So one way you can execute this code, and that's something I'll need to get into too when we get into the programming. One you can highlight code that you want to see what it does, and right mouse and do evaluate selection. Or if you're not running Camtasia recording, you can hit the F9 button. If I hit F9, it pauses Camtasia. I learned that the hard way because I finished off the rest of the lecture and I only got up till this part of the lecture. So, there's your matrix. Okay, so hey, cool. I covered all those things. Cool. So, so we have, okay, how do you keep doing that? Okay, sorry. I'm executing this code in here by hitting Control Enter. Control Enter will execute the code that's in this section. I'll cover sections here in just a minute. And leave the control in that section. So if I hit Control Enter, if I'm up here, you notice the control is because it's got this blue bar. I can hit Control Enter, it'll stay there. If I hit Control Shift Enter, it executes and moves control down to the next cell or section, and then I can do that. It's just from years and years and years of doing this, it just becomes second nature to hit that without explaining to you guys and have you sit there and wonder, what did he do? But this is getting pretty long at 46 minutes, and I got just a little bit more to cover here. You can change the format of your output by doing a format and spell format correctly, and it will work better. There we go. So if we go along E, this will give you up to, I think, like 15, 16 characters in scientific notation. Or we can go to a short E, which is, I think, 2 or 3, 4 in scientific notation. G is floating point. Again, oops, there's no T. And then rat is rational. It makes it a fraction. Isn't that cool? So yeah, that's cool. Wow, that's just totally awesome, dude. Okay. Oh yeah, man, it's been a long day. Bank. Obviously, if you think about it, a bank deals with cash, so it gives you 2 decimal points. I always go with format short. It's just what I've been accustomed to. Play with it. Do whatever works best for you. I'm okay with it. If you go to page 42 in the textbook, there is a table in there that shows you the various different formats that are available. Yeah, cool. Next thing is saving variables. Okay, so actually, let's come up here and set this, say, we'll call that a yay. Okay, and so now yay equals that, and let's say we want to save that. So if we come down here and put save yay, keep an eye over here in the workspace, no, over in the current folder here, and we're going to run this and save it. Now we have a yay.mat. Okay, .mat is the default format for saving in MATLAB. What it does is it saves the values. If you try to load this here, it will load up that value, but it doesn't tell you how it was created. It just gives you the value. So when you're saving your files to turn in, please don't save your files as .mat, because that's all I'll get is your values. I won't know how you saved them. You need to save your stuff, hopefully in a live editor or the M file, but I'm going to try and push you away from the M files.
Can you copy and paste from an M file to a live editor?
Yes. Let's oops, not that one. Do a new live script. I can take this here and do a Control C, and that's in the text, and poof, there it is. And so now all our this is set up. Whoa, obviously I forgot the R. So it's now set up so that the output comes off to the right side. You can change this so that I like it down here. And this is the way the exams will be. They will be in a live editor so that I can go through and execute your code, and then you will see exactly what I seen while I was grading it. But I'm almost up to explaining. Where am I? Ooh, yeah, I am. Next, coming up. Okay, hurry up. You're down. You're wasting time. No, that wasn't directed at you guys. That wasn't me. That was me. I'm wasting time because I'm blithering like an idiot. So if you want to save this as a different format rather than the .mat, you can specify. So we're going to save it as a .dat. So now it's a .dat. Now you can load this up in any software. We deal in this class with .dat, .text, and the Excel files. Now if an oops, Control Z, Control R will automatically comment any code you have. And let's do this, and let's execute the whole thing. So now this is going to save everything that's in that file because we didn't specify what to save. We just told it to save. So it's going to have everything. Oh, it's just saying yay. Okay. If you wanted to save just a single variable, you would type it in and say, oh, that's because I opened the .dat, not the .mat text. See, it's nonsense. And the reason it's nonsense is because when you're doing also, you need to specify a format that is understood outside of MATLAB. So that's the ASCII2 extension on the end. Then when we come in here and open this, we have a value, and we just saved the yay. Okay. Get with me if I just totally messed you up on saving. There is a little bit in the textbook. I'm just trying to hurry because I don't want to keep you guys all night. Okay, programs. So we've touched a little bit on them here. So there are two ways to write code in MATLAB. There is the new script file, which is an M file. You write your code in here. Somebody stole my times. R raised in 2. Okay, and then you execute your code. Now there are several ways to execute the code. Like I said before, you can hit the Control Enter. That'll stay execute and keep the control in this section. Or I don't have any other sections right now. Or you can come up here and run section. That'll run your code too. If you hit the run button, which is probably advisable to do at least once or twice, it saves the file before it executes, which is kind of nice because I usually forget. Well, actually, because of SolidWorks, I'm in the habit of hitting a Control S every now and then anyway, so that it saves up. So let's cover sections. A section is 2 % signs followed by a space, and then you can give it a name. And I would like you to do the chapter dot problem number. That helps me. Yeah, I've seen these problems over and over again, but still, if they're not divided up into sections with the problem number labeling it, it's hard to tell where one problem starts and the next one begins. So, but this is the important spot. Don't forget that space. If you don't put a space there, MATLAB interprets it as a comment. And then I have to go through an extra step to convert it to a section. I also highly recommend that you begin every new problem that does not build off of the last one with a clear statement. Why do you want to do that? That's a very good question. I'll tell you why. You could be working in problem 1 here, define R as 6, and then get down to problem 27, and it has an R variable in it, but you haven't cleared it since problem 1. But R in problem 26 is supposed to be a vector, not a scalar. and you'll spend hours and hours looking at your code. Why is this looks right? Why isn't it working? Well, it's because R is not defined properly. You forgot to define it in a later problem, so it's working off of the problem from before. But if you clear every time, then you don't run into that problem. If you want to clear the command window every time, that's fine. It don't bother me at all. So you see these little orange ticks over here. If you put your cursor over the top of it, it says terminate statement with a semicolon to suppress the output. Okay? I hate those things. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Okay? I don't mind at all if you suppress the output on defining variables and whatnot, but I've got to see the final output to the command window.
I might have missed this really quick, but with sectioning, like if you section it, you can reuse variables, correct?
Correct.
Because I'm okay.
Yeah. See, I can go up here now and down here. I can say R equals. Let's just do 1 by 0.5 to 4. Okay. So up here we'll run this, and we see that area is whatever that, and then we can come down here because we hit the clear button. I can reuse R now, and now it's down here at this value. But I can also come up here and get an error on this one because it won't do it, because I'm raising a vector to a power. But if we do that, I can execute that, and so this R defined down here will work up here. But by doing the clear in between, it makes sure that this R is prepped and ready to go for the calculations down here. Very good question. Okay. Another thing that students have a habit of doing is, say they were trying to find the maximum value of a vector or matrice. Okay, so let's find the maximum value of R. Okay, it's simple. It's going to be 4, but they put max as the variable that it's going to assign the output from. Will it work? Yes, it will work. So max now equals 4. So now let's say let's find the maximum value of R raised to the 2. Okay, is that going to work? No, because right here we redefined the function max from being a function that returns the maximum value and made it a variable of 4. So be careful when you're using function names as variables, because it will overwrite the function and no longer be valid. There are some that you cannot change. It will not allow you to, and you'll get an error when you get across to those. Okay, so this is the M file. So again, a section is made with 2 % signs and space. Don't forget the space. And then again, you can do either run and advance, which will execute and move the control to the next one, or you can just run that section over and over again. I don't like moving my mouse any more than I have to, so I've learned the keyboard shortcuts. Again, Control Enter to execute and stay, Control Shift Enter to execute and move to the next. Okay, so M files are cool, but I learned some really cool stuff in that training I was doing. So let's go into a live script file. Okay, so this one is solid. Okay, here it is. I like to put mine down here. So I'm going to go to text first, and this is going to be chapter 3 homework. Okay, and then if you hit Control Enter, it'll go Alt Enter takes it back to code, or you can hit this button up here. Again, I like the keyboard shortcuts myself. So let's say that x equals 1 to 100, and we're going to suppress that, and y is equal to the sine. Oh, wait a minute. No, let's do this. Equals 4, and then P equals the sine of y times x. There we go. And you got a problem there. You're an idiot. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to plot x versus p. Okay, this will all become second nature to you before too much longer. But okay, so now I execute this code. It's going to run, and it's going to give me this funky sign. But this is what I learned the other day that was kind of cool. It's not in the textbook, so I'm not expecting you to learn it, but it's pretty cool. So if you come in here and you delete that guy, and you come up here and hit this scroll to a numeric slide, and we give it a value from 0 to, I don't know, let's go 20. And now when you move this slide, it automatically updates and I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, I learned something new. I had to brag about it. So anyway, again, to create a new section is you come up here and section break. That's the same thing as creating a new cell or section in the M file. We'll do a Alt Enter and then do Alt Enter to go back into code, and it continues on and on. So yeah, cool. Huh? I'll get to the functions back at the bottom when we get into that. Okay, so here's another thing too. If you come up here and set these to a heading. And obviously I've only got 2 in here, so it's not that big a deal. But when you get to like the problem on plotting, you can come up here and go to, and it lists in here all of your headings. Okay, so it's only showing me the one. What did I do that? Anyway, yeah. So cool. Whoa, major pause there. Okay, so what files need to be turned in for grading? Okay, for this method of doing your homework in Live Editor and the M file, I need the .m, or if you saved it's an MLX. So I need either the M file or the MLX. Hopefully you're turning in MLX. Okay, so you see this little ASV file, .asv. Yeah, what's that all about? I will tell you. Okay, if you're spending hours working on your homework and something happens and the file gets corrupt and you lost it, and you're sitting there banging your head up against the wall saying, I don't want to do that all over again. Go to your current folder and look for a file with a .asv extension. That is an automatic backup file that SolidWorks. Sorry, I haven't been noticing the questions on the chat here. I'll get to those in a second. This is an automatic backup file that MATLAB creates, and it updates it every once in a while. Just go in there and change that .asv to a .m, and you'll get back everything that was there the last time it did a backup. I've had to use that a couple of times. It's very handy. And then I've already covered the oh, okay, sorry. Should have. Yeah, any version of MATLAB will work as long as you're 2020 or better. Yeah. Does it have autocomplete shortcuts like it? Yeah. What do you mean by auto? Okay, you don't need it answered. If you're typing in a code there, it does show you down here what's got to go in it if that's what you're asking. So it's kind of cool. Okay, so one last thing to present to you. You'll notice on this. Okay, so here was online. Here is a MATLAB grader. This is something that Holly's been toying with for quite some time, and I looked into it, and I think it might be a very cool tool to add to our class, but I hate to throw it right at you. What it does is Holly has gone through, and I'll have to update these for the 5th edition. She has created these little homework assignments through Chapter 9 and all the practice exercises in this grader, MATLAB grader thing. And what it does is, let me get in here. This I was learning how to deal with this. It's in my geometry. And we'll look at the trigonometry, the Pythagorean theorem. So what you do is, oh, golly, I kept you over an hour. I'm sorry. So it gives you the problem statement. It'll give you the variables and pictures and tell you what's needed. And then let's get to the student view of it. And then it gives you a place to write your code. So this one here says use the Pythagorean theorem to determine the length of C. So well, we know that using the Pythagorean theorem, we need the square root of a raised to the 2 plus b raised to the 2. Okay, and so we'll run the script, and we get an answer. And we could do a calculator to see if it's right, and then we'll hit submit, and it'll come down here and say, okay, you did it without using trig functions, and the value is correct. Then you turn it in. Well, let's say we didn't do it correct. Let's say we hit the wrong key and hit to the 3rd, and we submit that. It's going to come up and say, whoa, is incorrect. And there are some hints down here that tell you what to go back and look at. And then, oh, okay, oh yeah, hey, fat fingers. Or, to get to this other one, we know that the angle is equal to the tangent of what was it? Let's look. A divided by B, and then C is going to be equal to A divided by the sine of theta. There's no R in theta. Okay, and so we're looking for 9 point something value. So if we run the script, we see we got the right answer, but when we submit it, it's going to say, yo, hey, you weren't supposed to use trig functions. You got the right answer, but you didn't use the right method. So, I don't know. Send me some input, whether you guys think this is, I can throw them out there as an either or for a while, let you guys get kind of used to it, maybe put it out the practice exercises. I'd like to know your thoughts on it. I got mixed emotions about it. I think it's cool. The best part about it is I won't have to spend hours grading homework because it'll already be done for me. But on the other hand, when I'm grading your homework, I get a kind of a sense of how you're doing by seeing how you're coding it. And I wouldn't be getting that opportunity if something else is grading the homework for me. So anyway, any questions, comments, wants, needs, desires, concerns, or complaints?
Good here.
Okay, I'll put an announcement out finding out when people would most likely like to do this little lecture. Like I say, it doesn't matter to me. If I'm doing a Tuesday night, then Fridays I can work out in the yard. If I'm doing Fridays, I can work out in the yard on Tuesday nights. I got about 17 different projects going on right now, so it's one here, the other.